Hello, my fellow chatterers and book lovers, and anyone else who's popped in because you're curious or you've got a bit lost. Welcome, everyone. I am Chatty, and this is my channel, Chatty the Mad Chatter, and I'm going to be chatting away madly about my April stats. So I'm going to go through what I plan to read in April, and then I had loads of readathons that I wanted to take part in. And I'm going to go through all the stats of everything I've read and talk about which one is my favourite and which book ended up being my least favourite. So I have my handy dandy notebook so I can remember everything because I usually can't. And here is my little gimmick teacup because I only do one shot and no editing on this channel, so it's a continuous rolling camera. Let the chaos commence. Cheers, everybody. Clink, clink, clink. I also have some real tea as well, which may or may not be a good temperature. It's good temperature. We're excellent. That was nice. So if you did not see my April TBR, I will put a link here should you want to go and see what books I got and whether or not I have read them. No, I'm going to tell you now whether or not I've read them. That just tells you what books I got. But a little recap. For the 32nd, a book that has nature and outdoors, I have got City of Dragons by Robin Hobb, which is the third in the Rainwild Chronicles, which is the fourth in the Realm of the Elderlings fantasy series. Very good. I then have, this is a placeholder for Jungle Drop because I had to take it back to the library, but I also listened to it on audio rather than reading it physically. And this was my Mad March hair pick. I gave him a load of different middle grade books I wanted to read, and Jungle Drop was one of the ones he chose for me to read. And then A Pinch of Magic. So Jungle Drop is by Abby Elphinstone and is the second book in the Unmapped Chronicles. Then we have A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison, which I got for a theme card, and the theme was water, and there is sea on the cover of this book. I then got Gender Queer, which was also a theme card. That is by Maya Kabe, and the theme was air and sky, and there is sky on the cover. I then have Binti, the Night Masquerade, which is the third book in the Binti series by Nadia Korafor, and that was a 30-second prompt reading a global majority or book by a BIPOC author. And then finally we have My Worrying Worm, which was chosen for me by Tiffany. So we got the one ring because I decided we were playing it because Tiffany's been waiting long enough to get her book to choose. So Tiffany from Towering TBRs was in charge of what I was reading, and she chose Lonely Castle in the Mirror by Mizuri Sujimura, which I feel I've butchered the name, so I'm very sorry about that. So there we go. These were all on my list to see whether or not I get a reward or punishment. I read City of Dragons, I read Jungle Drop, I read A Pinch of Magic, I read Gender Queer, I read Binti the Night Masquerade, I started Lonely Castle in the Mirror, but I didn't manage to finish it by the end of the month. There were some other books that I also didn't manage to finish by the end of the month, but I read them sort of within the next 1 to 3 days afterwards, so I'm counting them all in the April, so it's kind of roughly. And I hadn't read enough of Lonely Castle in the Mirror for me to kind of count it as part of April. However, I ended up reading all of my prompts for the Magical Readathon. I ended up reading most of what I wanted to read for Transgirl April, and I also read the 6 picture books for Picture This. I'm not including the picture books in the stats just because there's going to be too many books if I do that. If you want to know what my books were for Picture This, I have my TBR here, so you can go and look at those. And also there are the included in the April wrap-ups as well, so you can go and look in the April wrap-ups and see all the different things I did read. But this is just focused on stats, and I tend to just focus on the formats of novels, middle grade, YA, and adult. And not so much on the picture book format. If I had 1 or 2, I'd include them, but because there's 6, it just seems like a lot of work for me to have to do. So I'm not including them. Because in April, I read a total of 15 books altogether, which is insane. I've never read so many books before. A lot of them were middle grade, some of them were graphic novels, and some of them were audio, so that is why I've read so many. But I think because of all of that, I'm counting this as a win. I'd started A Lonely Castle in the Mirror, so I'm giving myself a reward because of all the reading. So the reward I'm giving myself is, I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to play it in my June TBR or in my July TBR, because I haven't done one for May. So my March punishment is also for June. But the reward, I've decided on a reward for myself, and that is I get a free pass on my Read What You Own challenge. So I get to count a library book or one of the books I've earned since I made that plan to read what I own. If that sounds very confusing, here's my Read What You Own challenge to explain a bit more all about that. So I'm going to get a free pass, and I can count one of those books towards me reading 24 books before I get to buy any more books. So that is the reward for all of this, and I think that's quite a fun one for me. Okay, I'm now going to take out Lonely Castle in the Mirror, which I'm really enjoying reading, but you will see them again in May. So going over to May. Bye. And I will add in all the other books that I've read. So here they all are. We have City of Dragons by Robin Hobb. We have Binti by Nnedi, The Night Masquerade by Nnedi Okorafor. We have Gender Euphoria, which has been edited by Laura Kate Dale. We have Of Women and Salt by Gabriela Garcia. We have Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson. We have Gender Queer by Maya Kobe. We have, this is a placeholder for Iron Widow by Ziran J. Zhao. Just about remembered. We have The Sad Ghost Club 3 by Liz Meddings. We have Gender Explorers by Juno Roche. This is also a placeholder. We have Spice Road by Maya Ibrahim. We have Goodnight Mr. Tom by Michelle Magorian. A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison. Jungle Drop by Abby Elphinstone. Rainbow Grey Battle for the Skies by Laura Ellen Anderson. And See You in the Cosmos by Jack Cheng. So there's a lot of books. Like I said, I think there's a reason as to why I've read so much. 1, readathons. 2, lots of middle grade and graphic novels and audiobooks all kind of into there. And I will also have a little look at the sizes as we go on, so it gives us a bit more of an idea. So first of all, I've dropped my notebook. Here it is. I am going to talk about the age ranges that I've read. I've nicely paired them up. So here we go. We have 5 adult books here: Her Majesty's Royal Coven, Of Women and Salt, Gender Euphoria, Binti, The Night Masquerade, and City of Dragons. I've also read 5 YA, which is Gender Queer, Iron Widow, Sad Ghost Club 3, Gender Explorers, and Spice Road. We then here have 5 middle grade: Goodnight Mr. Tom, A Pinch of Magic, Jungle Drop, Rainbow Grey Battle for the Skies, and See You in the Cosmos. So a very even split across the age ranges, and I have had so much fun this month with all of these books, and I think it's been nice having that balance. So one of my goals was to have what I was reading, I wanted a third of what I read every month to be middle grade. And I have definitely achieved that goal with this reading month. So that makes me very happy. Okay, now going to look at the sizes. So I have no elephants this month. I like to match my book sizes to animals. So an elephant is anything that's over 500 pages. So all my books have been smaller. So I have 3 cow-sized books, which are books which are 400 to 500 pages, and that is City of Dragons, Her Majesty's Royal Coven, and Spice Road. I have 3 goat-sized books, which is anything from 301 to 400 pages, and that is Iron Widow, Goodnight Mr. Tom, and A Pinch of Magic. And all the rest are under 300 pages. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mice-sized books. So in terms of where I've got them from, 10 of the books are mine and 5 are from the library. So the placeholders: Jungle Drop, Iron Widow, Jungle Drop, Gender Explorers, and Iron Widow. as well as Sad Ghost Club 3 and Gender Explorers, all from the library. So in terms of me trying to be reading more from my shelves, that's a much better balance than last month's was. So in terms of genres, I have read 3 non-fiction books, 1 Gender Explorers, which is a set of interviews and sort of memoir style, Gender Queer, which is a memoir, and Gender Euphoria, which is a collection of essays. That is a lot more non-fiction than I generally tend to read. I generally tend to be like 1, maybe 2 at a push. I've never read that many before, so that's quite fun. I have read 2 sci-fi books. So that is Binti, the Night Masquerade, and Iron Widow. Unsurprisingly, the highest one is fantasy, which is Spice Road, A Pinch of Magic, Jungle Drop, Rainbow Grey, Battle for the Skies, Her Majesty's Royal Coven, and City of Dragons. And now I have a sort of more interesting mix. So I've read 2, possibly 3, because of Women and Salts being a bit awkward for me to place. 2 contemporaries, See You in the Cosmos and the Sad Ghost Club. Of Women and Salt, I think is a mix between historical fiction and contemporary because it's got dual timelines in it. I would probably put it more towards contemporary than historical fiction because there is more in the present. But it is listed as literary fiction. So 1 literary fiction, which is Of Women and Salt, and 1 historical fiction, which is Goodnight, Mr. Tom. In terms of series, I have finished 3 series. I finished the Rainbow Grey series, I finished the Binti trilogy, and I have finished the Sad Ghost Club. Unless, of course, she's releasing more, because I thought I'd previously finished and it hadn't. So this may well be more of an up-to-date than a finish, but for now, I've finished. So I finished 3. I have progressed with 2. So I have progressed with the Chronicle, no. I've progressed with the Rainwild Chronicles with City of Dragons, and I've progressed with the Unmapped. Unmapped. Are they both Chronicles? Yes, the Unmapped Chronicles. So I've now read Rumblestar, Everdark, and Jungle Drop. Now technically I've started 4 series. Her Majesty's Royal Coven is a bureau. I think it's called the Bureau something. No, I don't know. There's a series that Her Majesty's Royal Coven is the first in. The next book is due in June. A Pinch of Magic is 1 of 4 in the Pinch of Magic series. Spice Road is the first book in a new trilogy. And Iron Widow, we have, I think it's Heavenly Tyrant coming out again. I think it's June or July. I'm not sure which one. So, although technically I started 4, I'm technically up to date with 3 because it was just the first book in the series. So technically just started 1. So that's pretty good going. I'm happy with that. So in terms of book diversity, I haven't counted how many. I've just kind of gone into the categories. So I'll count how many at the end because some books like fit across several different categories. But in terms of either an author of the LGBTQ plus community or having a protagonist that is in that is LGBTQ plus, I've got 5 books. We have Gender Euphoria, Gender Explorers, Gender Queer, City of Dragons, and Her Majesty's Royal Coven. In terms of disability representation, so both physical and also neurodivergent, I have got a whole range of books to talk about. I just kind of want to clarify with Gender Explorers and also Gender Euphoria. These are kind of a collection of essays and interviews from a variety of people. I'd say the main kind of set of stories in Gender Euphoria is from Laura Kate Dale, but there are also a whole range of voices in here. And I previously spoke about a collection of stories before. They were all individual stories from individual authors, which were where one character would be represented. So for that story, I did include them in the category. But in these, they kind of touch on sort of like some aspects of grief or mental health concerns just very lightly, because most of these are about kind of like joy and uplifting moments in here. So I'm not kind of counting them within that necessarily. But I do have 2 books that have physical disability. So in City of Dragons, there are a group of people called the Rainwilds who have sort of like disfigurement on their bodies. They're sort of like physical, and they struggle with sort of being judged and things. So I'm including that in here. And in Iron Widow, there is sort of like a clear sort of like discussion about the feet of the female characters in this book and what happens to them, and they do have to walk with sticks, so there is physical disability in here as well. In terms of neurodivergent, we have a lot of kind of mental health and grief and trauma that is explored in these 4 books. So that is Gender Queer, Goodnight Mr. Tom, Binti the Night Masquerade, and the Sad Ghost Club 3. And I have 1 book with black representation, 3 books with Asian representation, whoop, they're coming, and 1 book with Latinx representation. Again, within Gender Euphoria, there are a variety of diverse voices in there, but again, the majority is from Laura K. Dale, who is white and from Britain. So I'm not including that one in it for my own kind of personal stats. So obviously with that kind of addition, I have read 5 books by the global majority authors and 10 by white Eurocentric. And my plan was that I wanted to be reading half of what I read I wanted it to be global majority. And so it's not half, it is a third again. But that's better than last month. So it's not ideal, but it's a move in the right direction, because last month was less than half, but more than a quarter, but I think it was under a third as well. Whereas this one is definitely a third. In terms of format, I have 10 books which were novels, 2 which were audio, which is Jungle Drop and Gender Explorers, 2 which were graphic books, which are Genderqueer and the Sad Ghost Club 3, and 1 which is a novella, which is Binti. Also, I should have said I've also read Sacred Fire as well, which is a short story in here, but I'm kind of counting it as one because the short story is 35 pages. So I'm not kind of counting it in its own thing. I'm very much just kind of counting it with alongside the Night Masquerade. I also nearly forgot that 14 books were new books for me, and 1 book, Goodnight Mr. Tom, was a reread. Now I'm going to move on to my least favourite book. I enjoyed so much of what I read this month. It was a really wonderful kind of experience. There were lots of different things that I was reading, as well as like my usual comforts. But my least favourite was Of Women and Salt by Gabriela Garcia, just because it's not my normal vibe. I do really love the kind of generational stories. I really do enjoy those, but I think I wanted kind of more with certain characters. It was too separated out for me. There were certain storylines that I really wanted to follow and see more of, but that wasn't the story that Gabriela Garcia wanted to tell, so I just didn't enjoy it as much as the other ones that I've read. My favourite is a lot more difficult. So with my favourite, I don't put rereads in. It's just favourite from new books. And considering how many I've read this month, it's good that I can't quite narrow it down, which I'm going to have to. But I've got 5. That's hard. Because Genderqueer was just so impactful. The artwork is beautiful, the story was wonderful, and it had such an emotional effect on me, and so it was incredible. My 2 middle grades, I really loved these. See You in the Cosmos, I didn't realise how much I was going to love it as much as I did, but I just absolutely adopted our protagonist and the journey that he went on, and it was just such a beautiful story. And A Pinch of Magic, wonderful, fantastic adventure, really amazing characters, brilliant plot. I think out of all of them, this is one that I'm going to put back. I'm sorry, Vidania. I absolutely loved it. It was brilliant. but I was expecting to love it and expecting it to be brilliant. So it's almost like it was kind of where I thought it would be. So I feel I've got more affection for the other ones that surprised me a bit more, but I still really, really loved it. I'm just trying to be good and narrow down my favourites, which is hard. And then we have Binti the Night Masquerade, which was the closing of the Binti trilogy, and you go on oh my god, do you go on a journey? Does Nnedi Okorafor take you on a journey? Absolutely. Just the world, the character, Binti's friends and family, and the different races and species in this world, and all of this is just so glorious. And there's moments that are funny and moments that are absolutely devastating. It explores a lot about prejudice and race and cultures, and there's just so much in it. And yeah, dealing with trauma and change and who you are, it's just incredible. It's just, especially for a novella, the whole trilogy is a set of novellas, and it's amazing. Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson was such a good time, and I think it's like when you feel like you have high hope. I now have high hopes for this series, and I'm now worried about hoping that it lives up to my expectations, but I really wanted to love this, and I'm so delighted that I did love it. But it also did things that I wasn't expecting in here, and the exploration of feminism and the world in here, and the friendship and the Spice Girl references. It was just such a good time. It's hard because they're all so different and they give me so many different things. I can't narrow it down further than that. I'm sorry. I've got 4 favourites: Binti the Night Masquerade, See You in the Cosmos, Genderqueer, and Her Majesty's Royal Coven. Don't make me choose anymore. Okay, I'm done. That's my stats. I don't know why, it just feels so painful. It's like trying to choose between your children with these books. But I like to try and work out my favourite because it's fun. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. To let me know, what was the best thing you read in April? Have you read any of these, and what did you think about them? Would your favourites out of this selection be similar to mine or not? I'm very interested to know. And if you have enjoyed this video, please give a little like, because it's always nice to know that things are liked. I mean, I'm going to do stats videos anyway, just because I enjoy it. It's kind of like a record of what I've been reading, and it feels very therapeutic for me. But it's always nice to chat with people. I know that people are enjoying it too. Enjoy the books you're reading in May. I hope you find some new favourites, and happy reading, everyone.